Stand by. Hello and welcome back to the Next of Kin podcast. I'm your host, joined by my son Christian and my other son Zach.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome.
Least favorite son, Zach.
Whoa. Just gonna get off the podcast. Doesn't mean I'm not the favorite son.
That's how Zach acts when he rocks up here.
When you rocks up
When he
here.
rocks up
I'm the least favorite
on
Start
the-
talking to the
That's
mic,
right.
please.
Okay. Who?
No,
Which one?
you.
I am talking. The mic's literally right here.
Okay, well, speak closer or something. So, anyway, we're back. This is. You want to complain about not being on a regular on the podcast
Yeah,
again,
It's
Zach?
all right. It's all right. It's all right.
Are you over that?
I'm just kidding. It'll be all made up when I win in fantasy this week. So.
Yeah, so this is a big week for Zach and I because we're going up against each other in the Emerge Fantasy League. You are currently winning, and you're also favored to win, I believe, 55-45
Yes.
or something
He
like
had a
that.
howler, and he benched Amari Cooper for the football fans.
Well,
out there, so.
I don't claim to be good at this. I don't know what I'm doing.
I know what all
so
that means.
I don't even know what it means either. So, and I'm running the league. But I'm 2-0 in my other league. So there you go.
Yeah.
So, and we are also traveling to Miami. We're
Yes.
going to Miami, as Will Smith would have said
Whoever
in
would have
1996.
thought we were gonna get him back out to a Bills game? Whoever would have
Me?
Whoever thought you'd.
Yeah, I'm going because family's in North Fort Lauderdale, so we might as well go see the family.
He's not going to the Ralph though.
I'm not going to the Ralph. I might go to the Ralph again someday, but I'm not. I'm not going to claim to be Mr. Bill's Mafia guy. Like all these people that suddenly like I've always been a fan. You were a fan when we got Josh Allen and you got good, like season 2. But now everybody's no. I never quit on them. Yes, I think a lot of you people did. So, but anyway, we're back here at Emerge, and we're playing around a little bit. I've kind of trying video this week too. Obviously, if you're listening to this on Spotify or on the website or Apple Podcast, you're not seeing us. But we also do our channel also on MorenoMedia.com on our YouTube channel and stuff. So this week we are going to be kind of getting into it a little bit and talking about House of Dragon, and then we're also going to be talking about Andor. But before we do that, I know this is the dad joke, and you don't find it as amusing as I do. This is episode 66.
Oh, I made it for the big episode.
You made it for the big episode, episode 66.
Big deal over here. Let's go.
We kill the young.
The time has come. Execute Order 66. This is great. So for those of you looking on our social media, you'll notice the graphics that I like to make. This week I'm executing episode 66. I'm very proud of that graphic. That's a little cringy dad joke, but that's kind of what I am. I'm a dad. And this is a Next of Kin podcast. It's all about fam, correct?
Don't say fam.
I'm going to say fam to ruin it for
Please
people.
don't say fam.
Yes, fam. And I
Is
like
it-
to, I
is
like
it-
to ruin. When I was a teacher,
If you're gonna complain about the Doctor Who saying it, then you
Yeah.
can't say
Is
it.
it too late for me to leave?
no, you're stuck here now. The doors are locked.
No.
Yeah, I like to. I like to ruin cool words that the kids, the young people say. So. All right, so let's get into it. So Zach, House of the Dragon. Talk to us. What you think about it so far?
Well, so far it's probably about the best 5-episode start to anything I've ever watched ever, besides maybe Ted Lasso.
Okay.
Which I finished season 2 a year ago today, or I finished what was out of season 2 a year ago today, and yesterday was the 2 days where I watched it and the whole show in 2 days, besides like the episode or 2 that didn't come out yet.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, there's nothing really to complain about unless you're just bitter about season 8 still.
There's a lot of people that are
which-
still mad about that.
Yeah, which if you just grow up and deal with it, no offense.
Again, most people that watch things don't actually understand like behind the scenes stuff very well.
Right.
If that makes sense. And like it's a very clear indication where like you can very we talk about this all the time.
Yeah, we always talk about this on the podcast.
You can very clearly pinpoint where the problem was with the original series.
Obviously the one thing was the producers,
Yeah.
or the showrunners.
yes.
We're trying to finish it up so they could go on to all these other bigger things that they didn't end up doing. But also, I do think that there was legitimate issues in that season trying to get everybody on the same schedule too.
Yeah.
All the
'cause
seasons leading up to
everybody-
that, everybody was a big star now, and trying to get them all together to tape all those things scheduling is always.
And it's like it's
you
still
know.
HBO. And then it's either way. Like HBO has a pretty good track record with just about most of what they produce most of the time.
And like that final season too, you had it's not like they were just in one location. Like they were in Northern Ireland, then they had to go to Spain or whatever.
Right.
Like Dragonstone was. And
That's
like,
that
they
is
had to keep bouncing
that is a
around
really
over and over and
complicated thing
over.
to do with people. And the other thing that runs into that too is that I don't know how much they write into contract negotiations and stuff like that because everybody by that point had renegotiated contracts. So I don't know for sure where they were on that stuff. So, but regardless, there's a lot of people like, I'm starting a petition. So hopefully now no one needs to start a petition. They're happy with House of the Dragon. And we certainly are happy with it. It's like, and I said it, I think it's so impressive that they're so far along getting the story going, and we're only going into,
episode 6.
Yeah, we
episode
mentioned
6.
like that the time jumps have worked surprisingly well. So
Yep, I would agree with that.
Thus far.
Yep.
I think the only thing that I won't say it sucks because I'm sure the new actors are going to do good, but the young Rhaenyra and young Alicent are just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
Emily
that's for
Carey
sure.
and Millie Alcock are just fucking phenomenal in their roles. Like they played it like I mean I don't know, I haven't read the book. I don't know like characters in the book, but like from a watching standpoint, they played their characters pretty much perfectly. Like I don't think they could have done any better than what.
Like
they,
I'm sure
what
the
they
new
did.
actresses will do a stand-up job, like as well. But yeah, it is like a little bit bittersweet. I guess bitter. Yeah, that we are losing the rendition to especially young Rhaenyra. Especially, I think young Rhaenyra really.
Even more
like,
than the other actress.
And the show is like, again, it's kind of just one story, unlike Game of Thrones, which was like kind of just like peeking into different characters in all corners of like the realm. Whereas this is like much more focused, and it's like much more just like the royal family and their lives essentially.
Well,
and what the big events that have happened, they're going to lead up to the whatever the big event.
Yeah.
Well,
even last week, I was again, kudos to the actress and the directors and the costuming and everything else, that I didn't realize that Millie Alcock was that old. I thought she was like 16. I didn't realize she was really.
But they do a really good job at aging her as the season.
They
went
definitely
on,
did.
Like she looked younger, like a lot younger in the first like couple episodes than she did in the most recent.
Even the
really, all the characters,
the way she acted,
the
like,
aging of the characters, all.
Well, many of the characters, like mostly the two younger actresses, and Viserys's actor, have had to play very different characters within like the same character each. Constantine.
Constantine.
Shout out to that guy too. He's been on a hell of a performance.
That guy's great.
He's playing a different version.
He's gonna be gone soon too. Obviously,
he's not lasting.
He's
not
gonna
get
a slightly different
2,
version of the king each episode, because the king would get more and more like
Yeah.
degraded each episode, and he would have to like kind of shift his performance accordingly. And then the younger actresses have to literally act as if they're getting like a year older for each episode or whatever it is. And 3 years the one time.
Yep.
So.
No, I mean, impressed with everything. I mean,
the filming helps too. Like they filmed downward on them, and they put them next to taller actors and actresses.
Yeah, there's definitely some
like,
things
there's
they
visual
did in
trickery.
like
Even in the second episode, the one thing I remember super specifically is when she's like picking Kristen Cole. Like they have like her hop up on like a stool, so she can lean over the balcony, and like so she can see all the knights out there. Which is like, because they're trying to say like, she's young, like she's still not of age yet, and then they don't do that.
Well, even
stuff later on,
even
when
in
she's
the
supposed
scene,
to be above 18.
The scene with Matt Smith, which was like a little uncomfortable.
It was just so long.
We don't want to get like shadow banned. Don't mention it.
I mean, I can. It's on TV. It's not like they're
gonna shadow.
Regardless,
ban.
Again with the production thing, I don't know like what the height differential between those two the actor and actress are, but in real life, but I'm sure that Matt Smith was standing like on a box, like they even make it feel like he was taller than her to make the age difference the seem,
Well, at least he's technically of age in that scene.
True. So
at least Damon's a stand-up guy and waited until she was of age.
Yeah, waited until she
what
was
a
of
good
age.
job.
Man. That's just.
So he's just trying to help her out.
Yeah, it's great.
So, it's funny. We've talked about it before, and I think now we're starting to see this. Some of the other characters are now starting to come.
Yeah, a lot of some of the other
into
characters are now fleshed out a bit.
Yeah.
So we have a bit more understand. I would say even after like the first 3, we didn't understand too many of the side characters besides maybe like Otto.
Right.
Like because his like. He was like playing the game, but it was quite obvious, at least to the viewer.
He was. Although he's gonna pretty much, not get his way, but he's kind of getting his way because his daughter's the queen, and he kind of knows people are gonna back his grandson eventually. So he did a good job, but like he also made it so obvious that he can't really like play his part anymore. So now he's kind of leaving it in the hands of his daughter. Because now he's kind of
that was a good scene. I thought that like it seemed. It was interesting because he was really surprised that happened, and when he's getting on the horse to leave and everything.
Yeah.
And it's but there's also he is melancholy about it because I think he realizes he kind of blew it, and
He
could
knows
have
he
could have
was too on
manipulated
the
it. He
nose,
could have played the
yeah.
game better, and obviously it's Game of Thrones, so he could have played the game better. And so I mean, it was kind of like he kind of knows now he's kind of has to leave her, and now he's leaving it all up to her.
Right.
And
Which
you know,
to be fair, he did his fucking part. Like
Yeah,
he
did.
he got her on the throne.
he did. You know, and he definitely was playing that game. Speaking of playing the game, the one really creepy, and that's one of the things you notice on social media is how people are liking to compare characters from the original show to this show.
That's just natural.
Which is, I don't have a problem with that. It's kind of fun to do that, so originally people were talking about Littlefinger, and comparing Littlefinger to which character he was, and originally it was the dad, but now, they're like, no, I think he's a lot more of that other guy, that Lars Strong. Larys Strong.
Which
like
is
that
interesting
dude.
because, Larys...
That guy's the creepy
which is
as
very
hell,
interesting
too.
because he seems to be that...
Hello, sissy.
the information, merchant, Varys was.
Yeah,
and his name is, only just a slight... And George R. R. Martin does this type of thing all the time.
He's lazy.
Well, I feel like...
And I assume that, and in this version of the character, that name was in, whatever the book was as well. So, but I don't... And so George R. R. Martin does draw parallels with names.
Oh, for sure.
He even says, with naming a character the same name as a character from, 30 years earlier.
Sure.
In his storyline. He does that, so that is a thing.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
I think we've only had one episode of his, true scheming thus far, though.
Okay.
Of where we've seen him, we've seen him in the background being shifty and stuff in an episode or two, but we really see him
He's
play his
crafty.
cards in
That's
the next one.
That's a Beastie Boys song. She's crafty.
Yeah, Damon is just chaos.
He's just
he
great.
Doesn't have
I mean, it's it's like he's just so good, and it's just kind of he's like the Josh Allen.
I told you, I knew he'd be
he
good.
Just walks
I told
in,
everyone,
and you said it. You've been saying it from the. I mean, we went nuts because
I didn't
obviously
know the role he had at first, and I'm like, hey, yeah, he's gonna kill
we're huge
whatever it
Doctor
is.
Who fans, so we were just
Not
excited that Matt Smith is not you. Maybe that's another reason you're not on the podcast because you don't like Doctor Who. But
I don't think that's it,
but seriously though, we were excited because we knew his depth of acting.
Yeah, he has a
on
powerful...
Doctor Who, his ability to play humor, to play melancholy, to play sadness, to play anger,
timing,
his timing was so good. His comedic timing was good.
The body language,
everything, how he could do things just with his eyes. That's what's the incredible actor that he is.
He's had episodes he doesn't say a word the majority of the episode, and he's still just phenomenal.
I mean, he's already got lines on this show that are legendary.
Yeah, he can be goofy at times, and almost
yeah, in the scene where he was and he was kind of half passed out, laying on the floor, and he's
but he
yelling
also
at
can
him,
be
and he's
extremely intimidating.
He's like, well, what did you do? Why did you do it? He's like, could you be a little bit more specific or whatever he said? And he's kind of rolling around so I could properly defend myself. It was kind of funny. So we're getting a lot of people kind of, again, comparison to characters. He's a lot like Tyrion, but he's also he's Jaime Lannister.
He has that cleverness of Tyrion, but he also has that kind of ego.
He's got the hound badass quality. He's a little bit of everything.
Oberyn Martell.
He's just kind of all around, just great. There's nothing bad about his character besides that he's kind of
when he comes in that
moral complexity.
When he comes into that, first of all, he has amazing entrances, and they're doing such a good job. He just shows up at the wedding party.
I mean,
he's just and he was not supposed to.
And the way they film it is oh my god, he's back again.
Why is he just?
That's the way.
And everybody's
the reaction
and everybody
is.
just
shows up when he
talking.
feels.
They
He just shows up when he
It's
feels
the fourth time.
it.
It's the fourth time in the first 5 episodes that he just makes his appearance into the story when he's not supposed to.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh my god, he's back again. And that's the way they film it. There's no big music in the background when
he
you
just comes
see him walking in.
He's not back.
It's oh my god. It's why should we be surprised at this point? But he's still here.
And he just walks up, and then they do the chair thing because they're really funny with chairs on Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
going back to the original series
so
too.
spineless.
And he's just get him a chair, and all of a sudden they had to go get another chair, and they kind of drag it into place, and it's kind of at the end. Yeah. It's he wasn't, clearly wasn't supposed to be there. And then and then that guy comes up.
He's just who are you? The disrespect. They just be who are you?
Oh, and that, I mean, everything in that scene. But he says, whatever the line is, and I had written it down. He's it's such a terrible thing, or whatever he says about it's so disingenuous the way he says it. Is just so good.
I'm positively bereft, or something.
Yeah, I'm positively bereft by this terror. And he says it just with with
absolutely no emotion.
And then he says oh, by the way, I'm coming to get my stuff.
I've been meaning to talk to you about my inheritance.
Yeah,
or whatever it is.
and it just I mean, and obviously they even had that great kind of. You made a joke as we were starting to watch the show, Christian. And you were like, "Well, this isn't going to go well because it's a wedding," and clear enough, like we had, literally.
That's how it
the
goes.
Expression "got your head bashed in" is not an exaggeration by any stretch of the imagination.
The speech too from King Viserys is just great because like obviously gets interrupted by Alicent, who has like the Hightower color, which
She's
basically
got, like, the
call the
green
banners
dress
we're
on.
going to war.
Yeah.
Like she has the green
Well,
dress.
she makes
the color
her
for
intentions
war. Yeah.
clear in that moment of what she's gonna do. She's gonna support her son.
Yeah.
Instead of like she's not gonna cling and like pray to Rhaenyra and like
And then
Which, to be fair, they are setting it up well. Where yes, Otto was a little bit slimy, and like his actions were, but like he's almost did the same to his daughter,
right?
Because his daughter is not like is a sort of a victim as I wouldn't even say sort of is a victim as well.
She's a victim. 100%.
Like in this,
she's
100%. Like given what be the anxiety and the picking of her nails and the stuff we saw through that.
I would agree with that. I mean, but at the same time, she kind of is getting older now, so she
And
kind of knows. She knows what she's doing now. As she's
And
getting
Rhaenyra
older.
hasn't like really. I don't think as it. I say acknowledged that. I would say as much like I assume anyway. I guess you would be like upset anyway if your dad marries your best friend, so that you're gonna be clouded by that for a while either way.
Yeah,
she kind of just lost like respect for the two people that like she kind of. I mean, she always was just kind of fighting for the respect from her dad.
Right.
And obviously her mom's gone, and now her best friend's married to her father. Yeah. Like why would you want to talk to Ida?
Who hasn't that happened
and
to?
She's and it's very different when it's like obviously someone was going to marry your father and like bear potential children that might be a male, and then they cause a conflict.
Right.
But it's now it's your best friend and someone who would know about how like precarious that situation is. But also for Alicent, like what Otto says to her in that one scene, which again, this show is also being like, the story isn't exactly like the most complicated yet. Like there's way more complex stuff.
But we're building up to the conflict.
Although there are some weird things, like there's occasions where we don't see stuff happen, if that makes sense. Like for instance, like when Daemon in like the first episode, we still don't know like what he said. Because in that scene, like we don't actually see Daemon say those words, and we have a feeling that I think some of these like unseen moments that impact the story might like come back later and like be different.
Well, maybe that's their way of being like, maybe we can't bring Amelia Alcott and Emily Carey back. Maybe that's their way of bringing those characters back. And,
I mean,
like,
you said I think
we
all kind of think maybe we may get some flashbacks to some things.
Maybe just because of the popularity of those actresses.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll go out of their way for that.
They might not go out of their way, but
you know. And then the other thing it was funny, like when we were watching the episode, and what's the name of the who does Rhaenyra marry?
Rhaenyra.
Rhaenyra.
What's the daughter's name? I'm trying to because like there's Laena and Laenor are the two Valerian kids.
Yeah. So who did? Yeah, but she
And
marries.
she's marrying Laenor, and basically they figure out. And like again, Viserys has to go and like beg, basically, to not even beg, but he has to like drag himself like out to like the island. I think it's Driftmark is what it's called. That like the Valerians call home, and like and propose the marriage himself.
Like they didn't even go and greet your king, like the king.
They didn't greet him or anything.
Like,
so it just shows the tension and everything, and the kids are aged up. From last time we.
But it's clear in that episode too, because obviously they did something too with this, where they talked about sexuality. That the parents clearly know. Although the father had like the greatest dad line of all time, like he'll grow out of it. And she's like,
well, maybe we'll know that his
Rhaenyra seems to be like
man's dad.
Not close. Rhaenyra seems to already be like not close with him, but seems to be very familiar with him already. And they grew up in court together.
They're cousins, and she knows. And I thought like her playing the game was quite well too.
And she plays the game immediately too. Like it's like literally the first meeting. Yeah. She's like, you can do as you want. Yeah. Like we'll just do what we have to do for the house.
And they're they grew up with their cousins, and so it seemed like they were friends.
It doesn't seem like
they knew each other. So she clearly. Like it's funny because she's not going to end up with Cole, and clearly,
Strong's been around a lot.
Was that guy's name? Was the guy's name Joffrey? Wasn't the guy who got like
Joffrey? Yeah, it was Longmouth.
So the Joffreys don't last long on these shows. That's for not, and they certainly don't make it through weddings. Yeah. Nope. So that guy kind of like it was a weird thing that happened. Let's talk about that because that's a whole storyline that I would like to see what you guys think about that. So obviously in that episode, the King to be's boyfriend, Joffrey goes and talks to Cole because he figures it out just through body language and everything, which shows he's quite smart.
Yeah. Obviously,
and he goes up and he says something to him, and whatever he's, we know what he says.
And obviously, early in the episode, they have not a bust up, but like they have a moment where like their wants don't align at all.
Because he wants her to just run away, and she's like, "I'm not running away. I'm the queen. I'm the queen. like, why would I go and live in a hut?"
And to be fair, what we've seen of Kristen up to this point, he does seem
he
like
was
a pretty
naive.
Honorable.
He is very honorable, and he's very naive about what happened there. I think he actually thought there was more to it than that.
But he also seems to be like really probably worried about first off getting killed.
Right.
It's treason.
Well, he actually I remember even before that he goes to the queen and. He thinks it's kind of an interesting thing because the queen wants to know, was she with Daemon? And he doesn't realize it's going there. He's like, "It was me," and she's like, "What?" And
so he doesn't know that. He doesn't know about Daemon.
He doesn't know about Daemon.
He just knows that she snuck out.
And now the funny thing is, does the queen realize that?
She was just doing, she just went to Kristen because
or does she just think now?
She has no idea about the secret
tunnels.
Because he guards
the door.
She has no idea about the secret tunnels or anything.
Yeah.
So
does
she doesn't? So
is Daemon not even on her
I think
radar anymore?
Like the Daemon thing's kind of just gone now. I think it's just kind of she doesn't need Daemon because she has her Kristen on a leash now, basically.
Right. So
the Daemon thing doesn't matter regardless.
So let's back up now. So let's fast forward a little bit. So obviously he thinks he's going. He goes, "Please just kill me quickly," or whatever he says he wants. And she's like, "Well, you can go." So obviously so we don't know. And here's my question for you. So obviously at the wedding, the guy comes up to him and says something. And then like 10 minutes later, the guy gets killed. The guys come walking in. Did he do it because he's still trying to protect, her? Is he doing it because the queen told him to? Because the queen knows what's going on?
I don't think.
What caused him to do that?
I think it was just like. I think it's a weird one because like it's almost initially I was completely on the wave that it was definitely like when he went to go kill himself after, it was because he like destroyed his honor basically as a knight or whatever. Right. But I also thought that he was doing killing himself to protect Rhaenyra in a way. Right. But now the more I think about it, it's kind of like feels like he's like kind of just done with Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
Like he's kind of just so like
he
just
really
feels so
done.
Well, no, but he feels so blind. Like he doesn't feel the loyalty to Rhaenyra that he felt before.
So did he just lose it there, Christian?
I think.
What do you think?
Given my, I'm trying to think of I think there could be a little bit because, he could have. Like obviously when that guy approaches him, he doesn't know about the incident earlier, and that he's kind of very. Although he does see that he's very worked up. Just standing there.
Yeah.
He's doing a horrible job of keeping it.
Well, again, what's his face? Obviously, Joffrey had very good ability to read body language, and he put it all together.
Like Jamie,
he didn't know. He put it together.
Yeah, he put it together. So I guess in a way, if there could be he killed if he thought he was gonna just kill himself
and then he just snapped once he was there.
Well, I guess theoretically it could. I mean, given how violent it is, I assume he snapped. And that's given the means of killing. He has a sword.
So now
you know what I mean. He has a sword.
So then he plans to go. He plans to go do the ninja.
He doesn't need to punch him to death
to kill himself.
He also
basically.
punches Laenor in the face. Which, to be honest with you, I know a little bit about where this character goes in the book. Not too much, but I just know which side he ends up on, kind of. And I don't even know the incident is similar, but I don't know how he gets out of, and he makes it to I think we see an aged up version of him, or at least a version of him with a beard or something,
right?
In the future for with him because we age up 10 something years or whatever,
right?
For the next episode.
So, clearly she stops him from committing suicide. I think his plan was to commit. I think he just decided he better just commit suicide. Because that's all he had left was his honor.
She needs him.
I just don't know how he's gonna get out of that. I guess they're gonna explain it. Probably.
I'm sure we're gonna explain it in the next episode.
It'll be very weird how they explain if he's gonna get out of it.
Well, that goes back to your point, Zach. That maybe we're gonna get some more flashbacks.
Right.
So what else you got on the show in general? Where we are with what else we want to talk about with where we are with House of Dragon.
I mean, we're getting a lot of characters next week or this week, I guess. We're getting a lot of characters added because if I remember, this is 15 years. So we're obviously getting a couple different versions of characters, like the new actresses. I'm not sure if Kristen Cole's been aged up or if he just has like a beard now. I saw like one clip of the guy and I wasn't sure.
He's probably just a thicker beard. And that's just their way of aging him up.
Well, I mean, there's 10 episodes in the first season, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's according to everything I looked at, he's in all 10 episodes.
Okay, then he just has like a beard on.
I'm sure that he's gonna.
But Rhaenyra's
Rhaenyra's
gonna have children. You would think. They might. Maybe they'll be Laenor's. Maybe they'll be somebody else's. Because I don't. Because remember, like with like even like the not the first season, the second season of Game of Thrones. What's his name? Stannis' brother.
Right. Okay.
Renly.
Yeah.
Renly like was trying to like do it with because who was also gay. Was trying to do with Marjorie to like consummate the marriage or whatever, have a kid because that's like always important to like the succession or whatever. But like couldn't do it at all. So like we don't know if like Laenor is gonna be like the same way. Also, it's gonna be like her.
Well,
we don't know the complexities of what their relationship is gonna be like now. That like her guy. Even if it was complicated at the time, went and killed Laenor's like love essentially. So we don't know like what their two relationship.
Well, I guess
will be like.
we
don't know
like,
if Rhaenyra seems like the type to pick up another paramour.
Well, the other thing I was gonna mention was we completely forgot to mention the scene where Daemon goes up to her and he's like, leave and come live with me in Dragonstone.
Right.
And she's like. All right, cut through my Kingsguard, my father's Kingsguard, and take me then. I mean, he probably could have if he wanted to, but like
given what we've seen.
So like, I mean,
that was such a good thing
Daemon's
too.
kids for all we know.
Well,
I think those will come eventually, but I think there will be because I think we are. If you look at the trailer, like they do seem to be ally at some point, and probably tie the knot at some point, and that's given what like even with there's been a couple different loves that like have been associated with Rhaenyra, and they've always at some point circled back to Daemon again in some way or another.
Fast forwarding based on some of the other characters that are floating around out there.
Also, Alicent's children as well are going to.
There's more children.
There's going to be three of them as well.
And there's at least one son. 2 sons?
There's 2 sons, and we saw a daughter. But there's another son that I don't think we saw was born yet. But I know there is a son.
And then obviously there could be more children in between because the king's not
dead
yet.
They could add son. There could be less.
Let's
for
go
the
back
show.
to the
like,
king.
I don't know.
Man, that guy literally is dying like second. Like, what's gonna be left? This guy gonna have any body
I'm
parts
pretty
left?
sure
alive.
I think he's gonna be
jump,
like basically just on his deathbed, like doing nothing essentially.
I assume he'd be like a wheelchair or something like that.
Yeah.
But
he's according to like IMDb, he's still got 5 more episodes. He makes it through the whole season. So
he'll probably die in 10 if I had to guess.
I don't.
Not that those things are right because if there's a surprise kind of death, like
I think the time jumps are done now.
Well, I'm wondering if we're going to get any flashbacks,
at least
and they're just
like the large ones, like for years long ones.
Yeah,
are
like
be done
there
now.
might be some things that they just filmed while they had the actresses around.
Also,
that
Aegon's
we may not see until future episodes because I'm sure I'm sure the way they do contracts, like they don't have her on a either of those actresses on a leash for 20 years.
Also, honestly, most importantly, Aegon is an actual character now,
right?
And he's the actual like embodiment of the opposition to Rhaenyra.
Aegon is again.
The firstborn son of like Alicent.
Right.
So
he's probably like 14, 15 at this point.
But we don't.
We don't know the
do
time
we know
jump.
like in the lore?
He looks pretty young. He looks.
I mean,
like
obviously, without any spoilers, like on Game of Thrones, do we know anything about exactly if any of these people? Like we don't know for sure anything about any of them becoming king. This is kind of like there is in the show itself.
I'm sure you could find it, but
the
we know
only thing they've talked about
in
the show is like some of the deaths. They pretty much just like talk about how like. They pretty much everybody just kills each other.
But even they've said that the book that like the in-universe history book like Fire and Blood that this is based on.
Right.
Like that's meant to be like not incorrect book, but it's meant to be like a book with some faulty information. So all the information in it isn't meant to be full on. It's like a Maester's like secondhand account.
That's a good point.
And then there's another like
I wasn't worried about the
so I think there's some
textbooks.
level of that as well.
I was just wondering if anybody had ever thought about is there anything. I think they kind of don't have anything from the show that they're kind of their first show that they have to worry about kind of giving a spoiler, so to speak.
No,
Not
I
really.
think the thing.
The only thing that they got that's coming that's in the spoiler that I hope I don't see because that'll break my heart is when they talk about like the dragons, and by the end the dragons are all like they're not big and they're just like dogs, and I don't
I
want
don't
to see
think we
that.
get to that.
I don't
want
want to see that. I hope I don't see that because I like the dragons and I don't want to see like dogs.
I'm sure there's.
I don't want to
some
see
of
that.
them
I don't
that
want
are-
to see CGI characters treated like shit. I want.
I think we're gonna see a lot of them.
I don't
bite
mind
the
if someone's
dust.
throat gets cut, but I don't want to see dragons treated.
I think a
bad.
lot of the dragons are gonna, because I think the dragons are. I don't think they're gonna be like that epic. Some of these dragon fights. I think sometimes like the dragons are just gonna tear into each other, and that's
Okay.
gonna be it.
Yeah, and that's
like
okay.
I
I
don't
don't
think
mind
it's
that.
like I don't think it's gonna be like I think occasionally
Although sea
like.
smoke is pretty damn.
I think
cool.
the talented
Sea
ones,
smoke's
you know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
really talented dragon riders, like say
Right.
like a Damon and like
Right.
maybe some of the children that we're gonna get, because I imagine all the children are
I
gonna
think
ride
the,
it
was
the
an
good
inter-
ones are just gonna like absolutely murder the other.
Well, it was
the other
funny.
dragon
There's gonna be
riders,
some epic
basically.
dragon fights. Like they're gonna be like aircraft.
Damon's
They're gonna be
gonna-
like dog
yeah.
fights, like in
Yeah.
World War
We
II.
haven't even met
videos.
Vagar yet, and Vagar's like
Yeah.
the biggest
Well,
one.
that big
so,
ridiculous one's
yeah, the
supposed to
big
come back.
dumbass one.
Who's
So-
Vagar's dragon supposed to?
I know, and I can tell you if you
No,
want.
no, no, no,
but
no,
I'm
don't
not
tell.
gonna.
No
I-
spoilers,
I-
no spoilers.
No spoilers.
So a couple things. It's
About to
funny.
say,
Like
I don't
I
think you
kind of
wanna
can
know.
guess probably. But
one of the things I
doubt it,
gotta say,
actually,
like
'cause we haven't met the character.
okay, no spoilers. I don't know. Like I just I like I just like what they've done with it. I think we're gonna see some really cool things.
Yeah,
They've
it's
got
really,
more
really
money
cool.
to spend on the CGI.
Well, I got more
Each
money
dragon
than
is its
Game of
own
Thrones did.
dragon now, which is kind of cool.
I
Like where
love
before, like I feel like the other dragons were all kind of like just basically copied and paste versions of themselves.
Drogon
The
was
other
bigger.
ones.
Yeah,
That was-
Drogon was
Yeah,
just
but they
bigger
changed the
and more
colors a little bit,
And
but
their colors
they-
were off.
Yeah, which
and
is fine because that's all the
yeah.
money they had in terms of the show. It was funny. Matt Smith. I saw some quick interview where they were asking him. He's like, "So from the show, if there's anything you could bring into the real world, what would it be?" He's like, "Well, the dragon." He's like, "If I could fly a dragon home from work, that'd be pretty cool." Like, so it's great when you see him in interviews and stuff, and you can just see how much he's enjoying this experience.
Well, I think that's what was great about Game of Thrones too. Is they seemed like I thoroughly enjoyed playing their characters and stuff.
I mean, I think if you're an actor, you got to really enjoy what you're doing here.
Especially for a show like this, I think you have to enjoy what you're doing
Right.
if you're gonna put on a good performance.
So before we move on to Andor, real quick, what are the other big bads that are coming? Is there other families? Are there other races? Not races, but are there other like islands and stuff that we don't know about that are still have to bounce into this that we've only kind of heard about? Like, I don't think we're going to see the Starks. I don't think the Starks are going to be a thing.
That's what we were saying earlier. That some of the other characters are at least starting to have.
Right. So the guy who's
like-
the Hand, like his
They're
family,
the Strongs,
Yeah.
and we've seen
the Strongs. Like, are we
Harwin,
going to
we've
get
seen
them,
Harwin a
or are
little
they
bit.
just going to be a loyal family?
Harwin's just kind of been like, we've seen little interactions with Rhaenyra. Like he was dancing with Rhaenyra before Daemon came and interrupted him.
Right.
She runs into Rhaenyra like in the one episode, like when
Right.
they're out on the street.
Yeah, on purpose.
What?
On purpose, he ran into her. Like, you talking about the creepy one?
No, I'm talking about like Harwin Strong,
Oh, okay.
the guy who goes in and saves Rhaenyra during the brawl at
Oh,
the end.
okay, right.
But then you also have like the Hand, who's like actually been the only like
he's like the
honest
reasonable
and
guy.
helpful
Yeah.
character to Viserys. Really,
he's
this-
a good.
this
I
whole
like
time.
him a lot. Like he's just kind of like you're kind
He
of.
seems very like because even in the one
Yeah.
scene when the king said, "Oh, you're going to tell me that my daughter should marry your son," he's like,
Yeah.
"No, I'm not doing that at all. That's not like."
But
he's
his-
like,
but-
and he
but
seems to
also-
be very loyal to the king.
But also
Yeah.
that Hand's like son, Laris, we talked about earlier, like set up the antagonist.
Yeah,
The-
but we
the-
don't know
what's
if the
word?
father had anything to do with that.
We don't know if there's a connection there. Sometimes there's house stuff. Other times we have like we have Tyrion incidents
Yep.
where like Tyrion's not all that connected to some of the other shady stuff that like the
And
Lannisters
somebody's
do.
going to have a little person for a child too coming up, right? Isn't that the thing?
I don't know.
I thought that was somebody. I thought I read that somewhere. That we've got
I
another.
don't know.
There's a thing that's in there with
Well,
the.
the other thing I was gonna mention is you kind of feel bad for
Lannisters.
Viserys in a way too, because like he clearly is a good guy besides being a dumbass and
Not a
marrying
good
like
king.
and he's just a dumbass. He doesn't know
didn't
how
wanna
to be king.
He didn't want to be king, and
No.
and he doesn't even. He's got tons of doubts, and
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we're gonna find out like. Was someone poisoning him all along? I wonder if we're going to get to that. Where did this all happen?
Is
Well,
he
really,
poisoned
it's
all-
weird,
I
'cause-
think it's more that the weird, not the the weirdness of magic in Game of Thrones, which is always very background, very non in your face, which is I think just like, and that's the little bit of Game of Thrones does do a good job with this because but prophecy is like super super important to like the books and to like the ethos of Game of Thrones. Like even if like it is a fantasy world that like kind of goes against like the grain of like how it usually is.
Got it. Okay.
So I don't know. Yeah.
All right, so that's it I got then for House of Dragon. Anything else? Any other
I
final
also
thoughts?
think it's just completely like way too far ahead, like super random. It's just gonna be interesting to see who ends up on the throne in the end, because clearly Targaryen ends up on the throne, but like it just seems like everyone's gonna die. It's just the way it's like kind of set up.
It's kind of like when you think some of the old detective shows back in the day. Like you kind of know they're gonna catch the guy, but how are they gonna catch the guy? And that's kind of what I'm enjoying. You kind of know where it's going. And I'm sure it's going to have its unexpected things because it is Game of Thrones, which is great. But I agree with that. I think that it's just fun watching it develop, and it's already significantly where it should be. That I'm not sure Game of Thrones got there as quick as this did. And obviously they had an established universe to build off of, but obviously you got to give credit to those showrunners and the directors and the cast because the writers, they've definitely put something together.
They
didn't,
so
and if we were going to talk about, Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power naps, it took them.
Yeah, there's levels to this.
It took them three or four Rings of Power naps. It took them to 3 or 4 episodes before it started to get good. And
I wouldn't even go that far, but yeah. Before it got the story got going, we'll say.
Right. So, all right. So we're gonna move on to Andor now, and obviously Andor.
Zach is here now.
Yes,
we're recording right after.
Hi. Did you watch Andor, Xerxes?
I did not.
Okay, well then.
Zach is. Zach is on his Game of Thrones binge.
Spoiled. So you want to jump in on a headset there for a minute? We can, since you're there, we can have you with surprise guest. We've never had that happen before. There he is, Zach Cease.
What's up, everyone?
What's up? So you had not watched Game of Thrones.
Never.
So here's a great thing about Game of Thrones, because you and I did this when Christian and I did this when Zach was watching Game of Thrones, where we kind of and we just kind of know what's coming, and people would say things, and I know a couple times you said something to Zach, and you're like, and we just like, oh well, hope don't get too attached.
Well, I just remember because he was watching season 1. And I asked him before, I was like, "Who's your favorite character?" And he's like, "I don't really have one yet." And then he was like, "We were kind of just like I think we're playing Xbox, whatever it was." And he eventually kind of goes, I think I really like Ned." And I was like, "Oh,
he lasts a while."
Arya's favorite
easily
now.
my favorite. At the end of season 1, I was like, "Oh, she's my favorite."
Okay.
She's just badass.
Well, you're at season 5?
I'm at the part where she's with the
faceless men.
She's with the Hound now. Yeah.
No, past that.
No, she's with the face.
Oh,
she's
with
in,
the faceless
Bravos
people.
She's in Bravos. Yeah.
See, there's parts of Game of Thrones where I that just dragged for me. And I was like,
I like
it.
it.
Still in it.
I like
it's cool if you're an Arya,
yeah.
if you're an Arya fan, which a lot of people are. I like Arya. She was not my favorite character, but there's a lot of people that like Arya. Like a stan is the word people use. Like Arya stans. If you're an Arya stan, that's
the worst
just probably
character
so
in Game
cool
of Thrones
for you.
is in the dark, though.
I think my favorite thing about it is how if someone's your favorite character, you have the story of your favorite character.
Yeah.
Because they just there's so much shifting.
And that's the only difference between that and if you get to House of Dragon at some point, I'm sure you will. That it's similar and it's clearly the same universe and it's very connected to that universe and it's seamless, but at the same time the storytelling's still a little bit different. And it's not that there's anything wrong with it.
They do it a little bit differently.
And that's good. It's kind of like if you watched a show and they do a spinoff, you don't want the spinoff to be exactly like the original, because then you could just go rewatch the original. Right. So they're definitely taking a new direction. So you're at what? So what's the worst thing you saw so far at this point?
Okay. The craziest episode was the Red Wedding.
Yeah.
This part's funny too because I wake up at 8 a.m. I'm like, oh, why am I up so early? I have a day off today.
I think I texted you at 7:10.
Yeah, I have a text from Zach. What the fuck happened in season 3? And instantly I'm like, okay, I need to go back to bed for another couple hours. I was out late. I'm like, I was like, just I didn't know if you were home, if you went to bed when you got home or not. I'm like, just text me when you get home.
where were we when you got to the thing? Were we there?
Red Wedding?
Yeah.
I know. I watched it at like 3 a.m. on my own. Like I think I finished.
I
'cause
can't
would,
remember. There was
there
definitely
so many
one.
nights where I stayed up till 3 a.m. just watching Game of Thrones. I literally they literally like go and they. Spoilers.
I watched a lot of what Zach saw, but I wasn't there for all of it.
You know, it's kind of funny. Sometimes when like when you guys are on like the Streamcast or something of a soccer game, and you guys are like 10 seconds behind me for some odd reason, and I will I'll see that like Holland scored or something like that. But you guys didn't. But you didn't scream yet, and I'm like, oh, and it's kind of funny. So I kind of walk in just to see like, because I watched it. So it's almost Game of Thrones has been like that a couple times where I was watching things. I think of Game of Thrones, Christian, where you were so far ahead of me that I was catching up, and you would come in and just kind of sit there and be like,
well, that's what he did to me.
And you're like, stop it! I know something's coming, but you're ruining it.
Yeah, but when I watched it for the first time, when the second they like closed the doors, I'm like, oh hell no! And then they show the arm, I'm like, oh hell no! And then they go up and they stab her in the stomach and kill Rob's baby. I was like no! And then my mouth just dropped. Like I literally screamed no at 3 a.m. And I'm literally just sitting there like this for like an hour. I'm like my jaws just dropped. I have my hands on my head.
Right.
I'm like sitting there, I'm just like, what the fuck just happened? I'm like,
I started the show on Sunday night. I'm on season 5, episode 4.
Oh my lord,
that's a bit
much. Aren't you working like overtime and stuff too?
He worked. Yeah. Well.
Oh, okay, I see. Never mind. Moving on. Yeah. Don't want to talk about that. So, all right, we're gonna move on to Andor, but there's not really any spoilers yet on Andor.
Not really.
Are you gonna watch Andor?
After I catch up to House of Dragon.
Okay, well then you're gonna be behind anyway. So, we're going to move on and talk a little about Andor then. So we want to still do that since we got a surprise guest, or since we want to just change topics since he's here?
Doesn't matter to me.
It's your guys' podcast, so.
Okay. I don't know. What else you been watching?
Just Game of Thrones.
Just Game of Thrones. That's all you got time to do.
There's nothing else to watch.
Well, then we're gonna move.
Game of Thrones.
We're gonna move on to Andor then. So yeah, we got to talk about Andor.
Talk about She-Hulk. It's Zach's favorite show.
So have you watched She-Hulk at all?
No.
Okay, so we're not gonna talk about She-Hulk.
No.
So 5 comments, 5 seconds about She-Hulk.
It sucks.
It's great. Okay,
Man.
it just knows exactly what it is.
But it sucks.
Dad, we're not giving it that cop.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say it's. They have a problem. I think what Marvel's done is they went too niche on stuff,
Marvel,
and that's what they've kind of done.
I'm walking a tightrope with Marvel right now. I'm about ready to just give up on the Marvel universe.
I can't because DC's still awful and Star Wars.
I just don't. I don't care. It's just
so,
I'm just my opinion. I'm not gonna go and watch The Boys. I'm not watching The Boys, and I'm gonna go and watch She-Hulk. I'm like, oh, everything's fine. It sucks, but it's fine. Like I'm not gonna do that. I'm not.
But you didn't watch. You didn't watch Ms. Marvel either.
No,
though,
and
I
don't.
And
never will.
And I actually liked Ms. Marvel a lot. I thought it was good.
He's ignoring like the one thing that came out this year that's like undisputedly.
Why are you not
like,
watching
good.
the two
women? He's ignoring like that might be the only thing besides Moon Knight that's like undisputably good this year.
Is Ms. Marvel?
Yes, that's like like Marvel.
I still just don't have any interest in watching it. To be honest, I'm kind of over the Marvel.
This has been a very low year for Marvel, I will say, in the grand scheme of like the MCU.
Well, no, it was not their prime year. No. Not their
like I don't think everything's the worst thing in the world. Like for instance, like the way that
Tony died for nothing. I guess.
Thanos was right. We should have let Thanos just kill everyone. Honestly, that's the point I'm at right now. They should just let Thanos kill everyone.
They definitely made some missteps of what they, I guess, thought the audience would be like hungry for. I think. And they're doing some very weird, like, obviously stylistic choices with, like, the episode, like, constructs of, like, these 6-episode run things.
I blame Kathleen
But also,
Kennedy.
like, everything on
Disney.
She's
got nothing to do with the Star Wars
Everything on Disney
Marvel
Plus,
universe.
though, has, like, a stupid fucking quirk, though. So it's like, either Marvel is like, okay, here's a 6-episode. That's how seasons work, with 6 episodes. We love that. And then Star Wars is like, you know what you like. You like 32-minute episodes.
Well, the one episode of Andor is 35 minutes.
35-minute episodes. Like, that's the sweet spot. Like, just enough so it feels like there's 5 minutes missing. Like, which is what every Andor... I liked every episode of Andor, and besides the third one, every single... The first 2, they just abruptly end. There's like, there's not really an ending.
Because they know
they just abruptly end.
But you said it earlier when we were doing the rewatch.
To be fair, these first, I think
they knew that they were releasing these 3 at the same
first
time.
3 feel like maybe it is so early that Andor only did come out yesterday, so maybe we'll do a non-spoiler discussion. Like I was like Like they just end like very abruptly. What were we saying though? I literally lost track of thought.
Before that, we were talking about She-Hulk, and I was gonna say I feel like they just put Daredevil.
Well, let's move on to Andor.
Yeah.
So
let's just say real quick.
The one thing I'll
Daredevil in the trailer just so people would actually watch the show. And
well, it was funny. We were watching the one the other day, and they're all one-offs.
Here's the mask.
Well, no. They saw the mask.
Getting viewership for some reason.
I
don't know why.
Saw because unfortunately for the people that don't like the show, if they're getting the viewers, then they think that they're doing it well. But that doesn't mean they're going to stay with it. But back to Daredevil, the one thing we were watching the one episode this week, and I was laughing. I'm like, I just hope Daredevil's not in this episode because it's such a bad episode. I'm hoping that when we get Daredevil, that it better be freaking cool and not be like, hey, man, he tripped over a stool because he's blind or some stupid thing where they make where it's fun. I don't want to see Daredevil in a comedy. He just doesn't fit into a comedy.
It'll be more.
Wong's fine in a comedy because he's kind of a funny character. But Daredevil, I don't want him to
I think it'll be more of his ego.
Sure.
Because he that, especially because.
But they can't just throw that in randomly when. And I've said this before.
Fair, I think this Daredevil, Murdock, then that fits pretty well with the She-Hulk vibe. Anyway.
This is a different Murdock because in the show, he's just starting off as a lawyer. What we're going to get now is we're going to get the rich.
Okay,
Murdoch.
I've never written anything in my life of value to a film. But I can tell you exactly how that episode's going to go. They are going to meet in the courtroom.
Of course.
And then they're going to meet
in the bedroom.
Rooftops.
Okay.
I mean,
they are going to meet in the courtroom for sure.
Yeah, that they're going to meet, and both versions will meet the other character, and maybe will realize it, and maybe they won't. I don't know.
He'll realize it.
Well, he will because it's public,
and she's also
she
doesn't
might
have.
Not. So
I don't know. I just hope that it better be good though. If it's lame, I'm going to be so mad.
They're probably going to butcher them.
Daredevil? We're not going to get it for 2 years anyway. So
they're going to butcher.
I know, but I would almost rather just wait the 2 years than just get this the little appetizer and it just stinks. So
to be fair, it does feel a little bit like we kind of have to swim through a bit of shit before we get
what are
to,
we, Andy?
The really
are we
cool
escaping
stuff?
from the prison?
Right,
we're
springing. We're swimming through the.
Okay. No, but real quick, the
real
three
quick.
coolest things in this next phase that's about to come up from Marvel are Thunderbolts, the Captain America movie, and
Black Panther.
But that's this phase.
Oh, okay.
That's this phase.
I thought you meant what was coming out next.
And I don't even I can't even think of the other
I mean,
one.
okay,
and Daredevil, those three, and those are the last three.
But the next two things after the show are Black Panther and
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man
looks okay from what I've seen.
If they're not good.
No, everybody's saying Black Panther is ridiculously
Black
good.
Panther looks good from what I've seen.
Yeah, all the insiders that aren't Marvel don't work for Marvel.
There's a minority of people that are really upset that there's not a new Black Panther or whatever. But
no, we don't know if that's going to be.
But what's his name has already said that he made the movie that he knew how to make, given the situation. So
I
we're
think
just gonna have to live with that.
I think what's going to happen in the film is that. The whole movie's not going to be about getting a new Black Panther. It's going to be it's not going to be that. It's not the search for Spock. It's going to be like something towards the end though, where if they're going to have a new Black Panther, it's not going to be after the big story's over. It's going to be at the end of the film.
Yeah.
Where it's it could just be alluding to it. It could be just alluding to it because I feel like that they don't want to tramp out.
Well, what I was saying is that they were people wanted a T'Challa character, which the Black Panther and T'Challa are different. There's a moniker Black Panther.
I get
there's
that.
T'Challa. So
we'll get a Black Panther, but we're not getting T'Challa.
I don't think it was feasible though to both for the audience to accept it, for the crew and director and co-actors to have to deal with that.
I'm sure they did enough discussions, enough research, and talked to enough people. And decided we're not recasting.
Yeah. I do understand the loss of not having to a lot of people of not having T'Challa that character as a present figure. That is a loss.
They can start a
as well,
petition, and they can.
But we might have to wait a movie or two
and
then find a multiverse way to bring a new T'Challa in at some point. But
maybe that's what
we have to give it room to breathe though, and maybe having a film to actually honor Chadwick will be better. So.
Okay, all right. So moving on, we're about 50 minutes in. So let's do we'll do a non-spoiler thing with Andor.
Sure.
And just kind of, so if you're still listening, we'll kind of just talk about Andor. First of all, I think the main thing that you'll notice is that, first of all, if you're mad about the way they do storytelling, you really shouldn't bitch about on this one because they've got 12 episodes in the first season.
Yeah, like
even if every episode's only 35 minutes and most of them are closer to 40, at least what I can tell so far. I mean, you're getting a ridiculous amount of context. So it's not like the Obi-Wan complaints where it was basically a movie because it was spread out over 6 episodes. You got 12 episodes and each one is going to be more than 35 minutes. So at the very minimum, you got 6 to 8 hours of content. So I think we're getting that, and
I would say that the immediate things you can say after watching like the first 3 episodes is if you didn't like the writing and the kind of rushed feel that like Kenobi got at like I think gave a lot of people, and if you didn't like the especially I would say like the rushness of like something like Boba Fett,
right?
Then you're going to notice quickly that this is not that type of storytelling, which those two kind of have a similar-ish storytelling. This is better produced than both of those significantly. Like, it's filmed better. The CG, like, it clearly looks better.
It feels like the first part of Rogue One.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and without a doubt, I mean, Diego Luna is just ridiculously amazing on camera.
The acting's on a different level here.
He understands how to play the role.
I just think the guy's amazing.
Yeah,
like
incredible.
He's just, you can't help but be fixated by him when he's on screen. Like he's just that good. And the supporting cast is incredibly good with this. There's like nobody bad yet.
Yeah.
Particularly for Tim. Fuck Tim.
All right, screw you. Tim's the new Ollie.
Tim's the worst Star Wars name I've ever heard.
Yeah, like it is
Tim
like
with 2 M's. And that's like literally
funny.
a character.
You don't have a lot of real names in Star Wars. Most of them are like fake names.
Tim.
You got Luke.
Oh man,
and people are like, Luke, because his name was George Lucas. His name was George Lucas. He named the character after himself. He's not a tough.
Otherwise, like the other major like players, because we. We're not doing spoilers. That's right. But we have like Bix, who's like kind of like seems to be like an ex of like Cassian, kind of like a mechanic. There's like Skarsgård's character that we get like,
and the coolest droid since the last coolest new droid.
Yeah, they always nail the droid.
So there's a great droid in here called B, and he's essentially, we realized as we were watching, if you like the movie Up,
he's like the dog,
and you like and you love the dog from Up because the dog can talk.
Yes, like he's like that.
The robot is definitely the dog from Up.
Doug? Yeah, it's like Doug. Yeah.
He's Doug.
That's the best thing that you can compare the thing to.
And it's like, but it also has and if they kill this dog, if they kill this droid, I'm gonna riot.
And it's like a text-to-speech voice. Like if you don't think you go to Google Translate,
that's definitely what it is.
Like that's what it that's what the voice has.
You can just tell me, and it's got this like, hey, how's it going? Yeah. It's got this great little like.
It's very emotive. But
what are you doing? If you give your dog a voice, like when you had Smokey in your mind, if you ever pretended to like when Smokey, like what Smokey was thinking, did you ever like verbalize it? Because I do that with and you had kind of, hey, what's it going? Can I have a cookie? Like and that's kind of what they did with this
a little bit,
right?
Yeah.
Like
a little bit, yeah.
Like hey, Cassian, you shouldn't go.
It's a little bit. It's not as like positive.
You're
as,
my
like,
friend.
Doug. It's like an impressed Doug. How about that? Like that's he's a little bit more sad than like Doug was maybe.
But but it's it's a new droid we haven't seen before.
Yeah, I don't know the model.
It's it's definitely a new thing, and we like kind of get some cool versions. The guy who does the dog, does the droid is actually a guy who does a lot of the droids in Star Wars. I looked it up. The guy who does the work on it is Campbell, I think his guy's name is. So definitely some really cool characters. Some real the world building in Andor so far is amazing too. This planet that we're on is really cool.
It's great to not be on fucking Tatooine.
The thing with Star Wars though, the score is always going to be good. The video, like videography, is always going to be good. Like it's a Star Wars project. Yeah. Those two things are never going to be in doubt. They're always going to be like at least like a 9 out of 10. Like, and they're clearly like
but clearly people weren't happy with like Boba Fett. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying like the score and the cinematography wasn't the issue in Boba Fett.
This is significantly.
Well,
this is more This is very Mandalorian in style in terms of quality. Like if I was going to put Mandalorian and And I've only got 3 episodes of Andor so far, but I feel like it's starting off as good as Mandalorian.
I think there's some sloppy.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I think it's
it's
a little bit slower. Like it's different. Like it's a little bit
Mm-hmm.
slower than how Mandalorian started. Like Mandalorian obviously started off. He goes to whatever and he finds like Grogu and he has like the assassin droid with him and whatever. Yeah. And then they're like doing the mission and
it's the
challenge.
study.
The challenge is with Mandalorian is because the character has to develop from being this this bounty hunter, and obviously we have to get that with Cassian too. But we also kind of know Cassian already, even though we don't know how he gets to be that Cassian, but we kind of do because in the movie they talk about it. Yeah. So. But it was kind of funny. But like, Cease, I know you're down there and you haven't seen it yet, but you liked Obi-Wan, right? Yeah, because you and I, we're easy to please.
Liked Obi-Wan.
We're easy to please.
The only thing,
I liked Boba Fett's also my favorite character.
Was that?
Boba Fett's my favorite character, so I kind of am biased with Boba
I like
Fett,
2 episodes of Boba Fett that aren't Boba Fett episodes.
Right.
I like the Boba Fett.
Mandalorian season 2.5.
Yeah,
basically. Mandalorian season 2.5 was really good.
And I really like the last 2 episodes of Obi-Wan.
Okay.
Like, if that makes anyone feel better.
Obi-Wan
was that?
I like the Tusken Raiders.
I thought that they did a nice job with that.
Yeah.
I thought they did.
I did, but it didn't like.
I thought though that at some point we were going to get more to it. I thought in the big city battle that like 5 or 6 Tusken warriors that were going to show up and like, yay, they're not that bad after. Oh no, they're not. Like and then like they're all dead.
Yeah, there's a weird like the 2 stories in Boba Fett never like there's like
the back.
They run the flashbacks of him being like a Tusken.
Right. The flashbacks
main story,
were only about changing who he was as a person.
They didn't impact anything though, other than that. It was
it was very Dances with Wolves.
Yeah,
but in Dances with Wolves, the Native Americans came back and helped him in the end.
It came back,
they forgot that part. So
they did, man. But he knocked him over with a stick.
Yeah, well, he did kill them.
It came back.
He did kill.
Yes, with a stick. Yeah.
What's his Cad Bane?
Cool as fuck. Had like
with a stick.
Minutes of screen time.
But in terms of like, this is the 3rd attempt, I guess, at like a focus on like a single character story.
Right.
Even though there are obviously, I think a lot of these other characters are going to get a lot of screen time
well,
as well.
It is about
like,
Andor, but it's not because we're going to get like.
Ahsoka will be the next one.
So
that's gonna be.
But we
the
had
thing is, anything Dave Filoni puts his hands on is going to be great Star Wars wise. So there's nothing to worry about with that show whatsoever.
Well, I mean, we had Solo, which obviously isn't like it's not bringing the same character back, but that didn't work as well. Even though I think it's a fine film.
You know what? I really like Solo, and I get sick of like
I think
people really shit on Solo, and I like Solo a lot.
I think there's some really stupid writing in it. Yes. Don't get me wrong.
There's
like, and it's not necessary.
It's not
the
Easter egg things that they did.
No, but it's
were
fun.
like,
but
so that's why he wears pants with a blue stripe. Like, no, we don't need to know why he wears pants.
Very well.
People wear pants. We don't need, but everything was like, oh, so that's where he got his gun. Oh, that's why he likes dice. They didn't need to do all of that.
And I like Kenobi as well, but Kenobi to me has come across as like, it's not what I dreamed it could be.
Right.
Like I like it.
Season 2 of Kenobi.
Yeah, sure. It's like
if you went up to McGregor and you said to him, "Would you do season 2?" He'd be like, "Yes." You wouldn't even have to finish the sentence. If you said, "Would you like to do?" Yes, like he wouldn't even. He would be there. He would be. He would put the costume on.
At that point, though,
I don't even want him to do it.
Why not? You know what? Here's the funny thing. That's what everybody said about season 1.
No, season 1 I thought made complete sense. Season 2, I'm just like what is he? Was he fighting Vader again? Like
no, I don't think it'd be a Vader thing. I'd be thinking it'd be something else.
There's not very much action in these first 3 episodes, but the very little action we do get is shot so much better than so much of the action is shot in a lot of Kenobi, and a lot better than the action is shot in a lot of Boba Fett.
Yeah, but that fight
remember Boba Fett in like the final where you have a lot of these really really awkward scenes when you had the big droid of like the big crowd of like Boba's people just kind of running in a crowd at different speeds because they're just being told to run in a direction away from a big CG monster that's not there. Like those scenes don't exist.
Have you ever run from a CG monster?
You don't got the weird scenes of like Kenobi whacking a
those extras
on the head
don't get
with
very
a
much money. You leave those extras alone. Most of them are probably working for nothing. They're working like $25 a day, and they had to go to Tatooine.
Cool, but why is he why is he hitting him like it's a baseball bat? Like it's a lightsaber.
Yeah, like it doesn't make sense. Like
the lightsaber would go right through his head.
What? I'm sorry. What?
There's like the one scene which is a cool scene where he like where Leia's in the base or whatever, and he like rescues Leia, and he's like doing the thing where he like turns the lightsaber off. He's in the dark, and he turns it back on, and he like slices him.
And again,
but instead of slicing him, he's like hitting him, like he's like.
That's just because of how the
head.
lightsabers are made now.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not like.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And again, I don't know what Disney's doing because like Disney, if you're gonna tell me that Disney don't have the money to like make these episodes like longer, like by 5 minutes. Like, because they don't.
But they're doing that with Andor, though.
No, they're not. Like, 2 of them have not. They're not normal TV length.
I'm gonna rewind the podcast 10 minutes.
I'm talking 42 minutes. They're not 42 minutes long.
It's 12 episodes.
I don't care.
It's 2 seasons. We got 24 confirmed episodes of Andor.
Okay.
So it's 4 times longer. It's going to be like 4 times longer than Obi-Wan.
Okay, let me think about it like this. This is. Okay, Andor's not like a flagship show, but it's like the main brand that's supposed to, besides Marvel, that's supposed to draw people in to come watch this, yes? So, like, okay, think about, like, none of the other flagship shows on any of these other platforms are a half hour. Like, ever.
What
like Game of Thrones, Game of Thrones isn't like, oh yeah, House of the Dragon this week is 37 minutes. It's an hour every week. Like, it's an, you know what I mean? So like you're fighting like these other channels, or Stranger Things. Every single episode of Stranger Things, there was 9 of them, was like, and they're not like.
Except for the last 2 episodes were like 5 hours.
Besides that one. But they were all like over an hour. Like, so if you're saying tell me it's the money, it's not. Because like
I don't think anybody thinks it's
about the money. If this is your like ethos for like how you think you should like film Star Wars on TV, it's wrong. Because also like I hope that Andor episodes are going to be longer because I don't want to have to wait a week, watch 35 minutes. Wait a week, watch 34 minutes. Like, that's not fun.
If you're gonna put out 35-minute episodes,
even for Mando that gets annoying, and I love Mandalorian. But even for Mando that gets really annoying. If they're gonna
be 35-minute episodes, you have to just put it all out at once, or put in like Stranger Things.
Well, that's why some people. That's why some people just wait.
Because even these 3 episodes.
Like I don't want to wait because I'm gonna know the whole show by the time it
and I'm not saying that I need every Star Wars show to be an hour long, like House of the Dragon or Stranger Things. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, like Boba an hour.
But can they at least be like the length of like an average TV show? Like, can they be 42 minutes? Because even like if you look at the 3 episodes we got for the first 3, it's only the
credits included.
If you count like the average length of a TV show being like I think it's like 43 minutes or something, 44 minutes. Like it's only really an episode and a half of real TV. It's 3 episodes, but it's only really, if you're comparing it to other stuff, an episode and a half. Like, which is cool. I like everything in there, and it was basically one arc anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I don't know if that's what's going to be the case for the next couple episodes.
So what we're learning here is that you're never going to be happy.
Pretty much.
Well, to be fair, I'll take what I get. To be fair, there's 12 episodes here, so I'll take what I can get.
Okay.
So, like, that's considering that I hated the 6-episode thing for all the Marvel shows and for Boba.
6-episode show is
for Boba.
If it's Star Wars, odds are I'm going to like
as well. So.
Pretty much.
And again, I enjoy these shows when I watch them.
All right, let me jump in.
Unless it's
let me jump in a little bit on this. I'm working on you a little bit. You're not wrong. I mean, and Zach, you said it too. Like if it's annoying that you got to tune in every week and it's only 25 minutes.
Well, like,
I mean, it's not a sitcom, so you can expect it from She-Hulk because they're trying to do it like a sitcom. So you're expecting the sitcom is going to be 25 minutes. I get that. For a show like this, it definitely shouldn't be. I don't think they're going to be 35 minutes. I think now we're going to get it. I think everything's going to be 39 to 45 minutes.
I hope.
And I think when you get to those last couple episodes of this season, it'll be longer, kind of like the other stars. I think they're getting.
I can take it with Mando because Mando fluctuates because it's sometimes.
We also get a lot of characters. Andor's going to have a lot of characters coming. I mean, so I think. I think because
I feel like Andor, if they do like 3, if they did like 3 episodes and then like 2 weeks, 3 episodes, 2 weeks, 3.
Or you just do like 2 episodes a week, like rather than 1. Like if you're gonna be short episodes, just do 2 a week instead.
Well,
it's just because like Kenobi should have just been a movie. Like there's no need for Kenobi to be a TV show. They should just made it a long.
The one thing that we talk about, Chris and I talk about on the podcast all the time, is that unfortunately, and there's a lot of Kathleen Kennedys in the world of film, and they decide
everywhere.
They decide, and I don't care whether it's DC, whether it's Marvel, it's everything. They all jump in and they think they know what their branding is, and I think clearly even you notice what they did with what they did with Stranger Things was they were worried about everybody joining and power watching it in a day and a half, so they broke it up into 2 pieces because that Netflix mindset,
spread it out a little bit.
That Netflix mindset of dropping the entire show, that's done. You're not getting that anymore.
Netflix is the only show or the only thing that will probably drop everything, or at least
and they're only going to do that with shows that aren't major properties. If they got anything that's popular, they're not doing that anymore because they realized I'm just going to go and get my fake membership for a month.
I think Netflix already said they're changing because all the other services don't, and now they need to actually
they're losing money.
They want to at least get you to get a 2-month membership versus a 1-month membership. That's what they're gonna. But
so Netflix took 15 years to make cable TV.
But the funny thing about this is though we can say whatever we want, but
TV.
Disney Plus now is the #1 streaming service in the world.
Disney Plus Day.
So as far as they're concerned,
I don't think they have more than Netflix yet.
They do. That came out.
No.
They came out that
Marvel
they're the
and Star
#1.
Wars.
So
that's enough. And Disney movies, that's all you need.
So as far as they're concerned, they're like those stupid podcasters and people on Twitter can complain all they want. We're making the money we want to make.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do that many because if you look at the viewership for the Star Wars and Marvel shows, they're not that large in the compared to
you're
HBO
underestimating
stuff.
the power of Disney.
I don't get it.
Kids.
And kids.
But no, but I know the viewership.
Disney's got so many.
Get to it.
Go look at Disney. I mean, HBO is trying to kind of do that by putting in the little DC brand.
No, I understand. I understand why
that's my
it's so
favorite
big. I just don't understand why
service,
the initial
HBO.
viewership numbers are so small. Then when they do come out. They're not small, they're good viewerships when they do
because
announce
again,
them,
I didn't say Star Wars numbers are good. I said Disney Plus's numbers are good because they've got 1 million parents out there that throw in Up or whatever it is.
I guess there might just be so much of that, to be honest.
And they've got Discovery and they've got some of the other things on there too. And Disney also did a great job the way they market themselves across being connected with Apple with Apple phones, and you got a Disney Plus membership, and they got Hulu, so they're real smart. They own everything. I mean, they've got a ton of stuff. At least they have
a large stake in Hulu. I don't think they completely.
They don't, Hulu's it's more of a partnership.
I think they have 40%.
It's more of a partnership
or something like that.
Hulu was falling apart, so they kind of went in and just partnered with Hulu. Hulu didn't sell, but they partnered with Hulu. Yeah. Kind of like Discovery's kind of almost the same thing. It's kind of like a related brand.
Well, Fox had a lot of ownership over Hulu, so they just took over that. I think.
Right, that was part of the purchase thing. So, all right. So, what else you got with Andor? Visually, it's really cool. There's some cool. The ships are really cool.
Back up to snuff for visuals, yeah. Back up to the what we need, the consistent.
Yeah. So the new ship, we
only get a couple
Thor's
shots
doctor, Professor Friend. What's his name? I can never pronounce the guy.
Definitely Corellian.
It's definitely reminds you a lot of the Millennium Falcon. Like whoever designed and built the Millennium Falcon in universe.
It's not
whatever
a
company.
piece of crap though.
No,
it's very much
because this guy's rich.
He's a rich dude, so that's very much like a souped up, a black, sleek. We saw the interior. The interior's not.
It's got the cool
apart.
round hallway, like the Millennium Falcon. All the walls.
The weird
this doesn't got the cheap. It doesn't have the cheap padding on it. It's got a sleeker thing. But like you said, in the universe, there's even in universe, there's styles of Corellian freighters and all that stuff. So this
the cockpit style is the biggest giveaway. Yeah.
And then you said that Andor's gun is even a throwback to some comic or something.
Yeah, I'm not even that familiar with this.
People were
are
freaking
saying
out.
That I forget Kyle Katarn or something. I think the character is or some I don't know. Either way, one of the characters that in the old legends used to was the one character got the Death Star plans back before the Rogue One existed, I guess. It's his gun apparently, or it's a version that very much looks. It's like a Briar pistol or something.
I think the way they've kind of set this, the way they've set this up with the characters and kind of the
spoilers,
the way it kind of works.
That doesn't really explain that much.
That corporate mentality, the corporation, the corporation that's kind of around. The corporation that's around kind of reminds me of the stupid corporation in Avatar. It's they're kind of they're non.
That reminded me of Avatar.
But they're kind of like that. They're not real military. They're kind of fake military. They're hired mercenaries kind of thing.
Go watch Avatar in theaters today. I think it's down in theaters today.
You want to go commit arson at a theater?
Okay.
Don't get me started. Behind your back.
Don't get me started about freaking stupid ass Avatar.
Sorry,
I like Avatar.
Don't make me.
No, you don't. Name 4 characters in Avatar.
I just like the
Name
Avatar.
4 characters.
The other Avatar.
Name
one of the other
name
Avatars.
4 characters.
It looks cool.
Zach, name 4 characters.
You got Steve.
I can't name actors.
The
man.
Pandora.
No, I'm not naming actors. I want the
Name the characters' names.
I want the character.
I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't even know.
Exactly.
What's the girlfriend's name?
Nobody knows.
No.
Fiona.
No.
What are the stupid birds that they have? They connect their hair and they have sex with.
Nobody knows what that is. I can
Nobody knows what those are
guarantee you
called. It's Pandora. I know that. And Thing the theme song.
I don't even
Like hum it.
Nobody even knows what's it's called. Its
Nothing.
Name. Nobody even know like the
There's
Colonel's
one.
name.
The only quotes
You
anybody's
got-
got is
Colonel,
"Welcome to Pandora."
yeah, Jake.
That's
only-
it.
that's
Jake.
the only
No, you
quote
can't
in
cheat
the
over
entire
there.
movie.
Stop cheating.
Zach, put it down.
Jake
Zach, put it
Sully
down.
or Scully
you
or
got
whatever.
the Colonel. You got
Yeah,
the
Colonel-
key to your
See, I'll
house.
tell you
Colonel
what,
Sanders.
Nobody can name the Colonel
Colonel Sanders.
Actual last name.
It's like
Yeah.
I don't know how to
Sanders.
say it. It's like Quetich or something like that.
What?
It's like Quet something. I don't know how to
That's
say
not
it.
it.
No.
I don't know how to
Okay.
pronounce it. It's
That's
some weird.
not it.
It's some weird name that begins with a Q. I don't know how to pronounce it.
They're
It's
looking
not
for
a Q.
randomonium,
looking
right?
up
Is
right
that the
now.
name of the thing they're looking
No, it's
for?
unobtainium.
Unobtainium.
Which is the
Randomonium.
fucking
Colonel
stupidest
Quaritch?
name.
Unobtainium, 'cause
It's
you
hard
can't
to
obtain
afford,
it.
guys. and
Yeah.
It's
Colonel
unobtainable.
Quaritch.
You could almost say it's
You got
unobtainable.
They should have just called Sigourney Weaver's character Dr. Ridley.
Don't
like
forget
so
about
she
Grace.
was the
Dr.
same
Guy.
character.
Ridley?
Yeah, like should have just called her the same character from the
and
Alien
then like
movies.
Michelle Rodriguez's character plays the same character.
She plays
in
Michelle
everything,
Rodriguez
and
in
she
it.
dies.
Yeah,
And
she
then-
plays the helicopter pilot from Aliens 2. So it's
Yeah.
the same
Then
character.
you got what's his name, Jake.
You guys are
Yeah.
shitting on it like you're not going to be at Avatar 2 day one.
I am not going
I'm
to see it.
not going to see Avatar.
I'm not going to watch it on a streaming
I'm going to
service.
see it at some
If
point.
I had a cap,
but,
I'd
like,
put it
I'm
on
not
because
watching
calling
it.
Cap.
this is
This
Fantastic
time,
Four. You
they-
won't watch either.
for the promo for this movie, you know what it should be? Is like Avatar 2. This time it's
I mean,
it's
I'd like to see a
underwater.
story trailer at some
Instead of
point.
in
That
the
would be
air,
nice. Like,
we're going to be underwater this time.
that really is what they're doing.
It's
isn't it?
it's the same story. So this time they'll connect to a fish and they'll ride a fish instead of a bird.
No, it's
And
gonna
this
be
time the
It's the
tree's
same
going to be
characters
underwater.
before, though.
It's going to be underwater tree.
I think they're just going back for revenge, basically.
I'm telling you, the only movie I care about that's underwater is I'm going to see The Little Mermaid because I think that's going to be great.
Doesn't Wakanda Forever have like
Yeah.
underwater?
Kind of forever because what the like, name.
I only
is the-
and I'm upset because I don't think mermaids should be of color. They should only be white.
What?
That's what everybody's mad about. They're mad about the mermaid. She's
You're
a
supposed to- yeah,
mermaid.
You sound like you were just saying that. I was like,
Yeah,
whoa.
you should've
Yeah.
said that
I
before
like
you
my
said that.
mermaids
I'm like,
white,
yo,
man. That's the only color
Whoa.
mermaids that there should
Hey,
be.
it's not historically accurate that mermaid was.
Yeah.
Oh my god, my favorite one was like people were like it's in France. I'm like, oh
No, it's not
like-
in France
like,
either.
well,
It's
this is
Netherlands.
Is it?
No, it's Denmark. It's Denmark. The Hans Christian Andersen is Danish.
Oh, either way, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
Like,
so-
it's like, well, obviously Danish.
It's a
mermaids
Danish
must
story.
be white.
Yeah, well, it's
like,
all they-
it's like,
no.
it's like, you
But
know?
she's a mermaid.
It's like, why? It's like, why doesn't she have? You know, I don't know why. Why doesn't she have fucking gills? That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
It's like she's a fucking mermaid.
That would be cool if
yeah,
she did.
Like,
Yeah. A person, well, no, because she wants to be human.
fucking stupid.
It is stupid.
If you give a fuck that a fucking mermaid is like, it's
Yeah.
the color of the mermaid's skin.
Yeah.
It's like
All right.
if you
I need
got
me.
enough
I
care
need
in
me
the
another
world
Gal
to care
Gadot
about
film.
it.
You know what I mean?
All right. So what else? So we're not going in. That's it. We kind of covered everything, right? You don't have anything else you want to say?
I guess we got everything. Yeah.
Yeah. How many? You think we're gonna get a lot more flashbacks in Andor? Or no?
Of what?
Are they done with the flashbacks?
I don't know.
Hope
man.
not.
No, I guess I think we got to explain what happened on the planet.
Okay.
Still. And also, there's a weird conspiracy. There's a weird thing going on with that ship, that crashed ship.
Yeah, it poisons the planet. Everybody dies.
Well,
It's
well,
Anakin.
no. Well, they say that's a mining accident, but that wouldn't be a mining accident. So, like, unless it's a cover-up, which, and also, this planet looks like it's already had a disaster before this. Like,
Yeah, that's why I think it's a big cover up.
the mine's already like
Yeah.
destroyed with. Or
I think we're gonna
abandoned or
get some.
whatever.
We're gonna eventually find out that
But
what happened
But
to
they're
like
all wearing
all
their
those
ship-
little kids' parents and everything like that. You know.
Yeah.
So
Oh wait, we're not doing spoilers. That's right.
okay.
I was about to go
Well, we
into
don't.
depth.
I mean, I'm not. If you watch 2 seconds, we don't. It's not like we spoiled it. We don't know. We just kind of said, well, something you're going to see, but it's not like, oh no, that ruins the story. So,
Either way, there's a discrepancy.
but that Darth
from what
Vader
we've
scene is
heard.
great.
Yeah, Yoda's really good. In this.
Yoda's and Darth Vader and Superman are
They
all
hi-
really
they
great in the
high-five.
first.
Superman scene was
In
pretty
episode
good,
in
too.
episode 3, that Superman scene is freaking amazing.
Are Cersei and Jamie still
This
having
is like-
And they
sex?
have on
Yes,
Andor. They
yes,
show up in there.
yes.
That's what happened. They didn't die in the rock slide or anything
Yeah,
like that. They're there,
Andor got
so-
pushed off the tree that they were having sex in.
Yeah.
I mean, Overall, it's a bit slower.
And when Andor learns to ride the bird by connecting his hair to the bird, it's amazing.
Is Gal Gadot in it?
What?
In what? In Andor?
In Andor, he learns to ride a bird.
Spoilers.
After he becomes friends with Superman. I think we've got the point that these are not real spoilers.
Spoilers.
I think people figured
Andor
it out.
executes a child in cold blood.
He kills Hitler. He goes back in time and he kills Hitler.
But he shaves his mustache off and puts it on because he likes the way it looks. So he has a
Have
mustache.
you
ever shaved a
that's got to be
mustache
a
off?
next. That's got to be a
That's not
Zach
how it
Square
works.
topic. Have you done the time travel
If you
one?
what topic?
done-
If you killed Hitler, would you put his mustache on? Is that
No,
what
no.
you're
If
like,
you,
is that
if
the
you
top-
would you travel back in time and kill Hitler as a baby?
We definitely did that.
You did that topic.
I
You
don't
must
think
have
we- I don't
done
think
that
we have.
topic.
Well, I guess we're doing that
Would you-
today.
would
Okay,
you
write it
stop on
down.
that-
Put it in your
that
notes.
soft-
All right, are we done?
Yeah.
I think we're done. Well, we'd like to thank you for watching the Next of Kin podcast. Please join our social media. If you're interested in starting your own podcast, kind of come out, reach out to us here at Emerge, and we'd love to have you join the team or join the network. Big thanks out to Matt Johnson and the BICBPH Radio Network, and we'll be back next time with more exciting news.
Go watch Zach Squared.
Go Bills.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And actually get out there, Zach Squared. Even though I'm gonna kill you in fantasy this week.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Go
All right.
Bills.
Go Bills. Bills Mafia.